What's up, y'all? I'm Ephraim, that ancient artist, your host here for Legions of Artists Project with Escondido Arts Partnership, of course. The Legions of Artists Project is about making an impact through artists' voices and sharing their craft, their challenges, their wisdom, and, of course, their truth.
If I commit myself to a little bit of craft and I have a message, I can become an artist in any way that suits me.
Yeah.
Your ideas get smaller because they're purified through your craft.
I like that.
Getting my graduate degrees taught me about myself.
Ooh.
It taught me who I was and what I wanted to say. So my name is Robert Giracello, and I'm a professor of music at John Paul the Great University. I've been there for 7 years. I got my degree in music composition from University of California in 2010, I believe, 2011.
Okay.
And I've been a music teacher ever since. I teach the digital music program and all that it entails, so composition, electronic composition, and all the survey classes and theory classes, and I love it.
Yes.
And,
he's my professor,
yeah.
everybody.
That's about it.
Awesome. Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. So that goes into my first question.
Okay.
So what inspired you to pursue your craft?
So when I was 18, I was going to junior college right here in San Marcos at Palomar College, and my best friend was a musician.
Okay.
He's a really good saxophone player, still is, great composer, and we carpooled. And at the time, I thought I was going to do communications or maybe creative writing or history or something. For a while, I flirted with the idea of being an actor, but I didn't have the personality for it.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but we carpooled, and his class was at 8 a.m. And my class was at 10 a.m.
Okay.
And so I took a nap in the car and missed my 10 a.m. class. And so I said, I'm not doing that anymore. And so I ended up taking the class with him.
Okay.
And that class was music theory.
Oh, wow.
And that's where I said, wow, this is what I want to do. I'd always loved music. You know, I sang in the choir and I played in the marching band or whatever, but I wasn't very good at it. But music theory kind of opened my mind to the construction of music and be able to see it from the inside out. And I fell in love with it from the first day. So,
wow.
Yeah.
No, I love that because, you know, you speak on like how it kind of accidentally fell in line, but initially it was meant to be. It's like you were initially wanting to be an actor.
Yeah. Or
you wanted to pursue another subject, but then the fact that you were carpooling with your friend, it led you into the class of music theory. That's beautiful.
And things like that, you know, we like to think that there's one set plan for us and fate is going to determine that plan, or God's going to determine that plan. And the truth of the matter is there's half a dozen things that all of us could have a really happy life with.
Yeah.
And it's finding not that 1 in a million, but that 6 in 12. And when you find, you know, something that you can see yourself doing for the rest of your life, you know, hopefully you're gonna have a really successful time with it. So,
I love that. Yeah. No, that's really inspiring because I know, based on the music theory class that I took with you, I really was passionate about it, but I struggled with it so much. So thank you for sharing.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
There's always time.
I'm still learning.
Yeah, there's always time. You know, patience with yourself. It's not going to change.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Thank you. So I guess that leads me into the next question.
Good. We're leading into the questions. That's good.
What is your specific craft, or do you have a specific craft that you focus on?
That I focus on. I think I'm too old to focus on stuff.
Okay.
I think when I was younger, my heart's desire was to write classical concert music.
Okay.
So it was to write chamber music and orchestral music, and you know, there's not a lot of opportunities in that.
Okay.
Just like with blockbuster film scores, there's a handful of jobs for 1 million people. But there is a lot of work in the kind of stuff that I do now.
Okay.
I wouldn't say focus on, but when I'm doing creative art, I'm, you know, writing for ensembles, and I'm maybe arranging things for high school choir or stuff like that. And there's, you know, it's its own fun game.
Yeah.
It's definitely enough to keep you, you know, thinking creatively. I still write for myself, but I think when you have a kind of an established career and you really are spending your work hours in the field, it makes it harder to say, that I'm focusing on something as a hobby, right?
No, that makes sense.
It's just the side gig that I give the most attention to, and that's probably arranging things and writing for small ensembles and stuff.
Okay, I love that. No, thank you for sharing that. So you would say like that's like an aspect of what your craft is, but is there anything else like teaching stuff like that?
Well, for sure, my number one creative craft would be composing. Right?
Yeah.
But I work peripherally in all aspects of music. So I'll teach privately. We'll do one-on-ones. I'll teach classes. I conduct choirs. I play organ at the church and all that kind of stuff. So I do a lot of performing and educating in music. Yeah. But my number one passion craft is writing.
Okay. I love that. Okay, cool. Well,
does that lead you into the next question?
It might.
All right.
So what are some of the challenges that you experience while pursuing your craft, if any?
Oh yeah, lots of challenges. Lots of challenges. And when you're young, you have an incredible amount of ideas, but have very little craft because you have to learn craft and ideas. Boy, they're just the creative passion that everybody's got. And as you get older, your craft increases, but your ideas decrease. And it's not, and I thought about this for a long time, and I thought, well, do I just become less creative? Why am I having less ideas? And the truth of the matter is as your craft builds, you develop such an intense filter that ideas they don't seem as legitimate as they did when you had no craft. Okay. So everything was on the table when I didn't know what I was doing. Okay. And as you learn, you realize, well, those ideas, they've already been used to their extreme. Oh, and these ideas over here, they don't really match my aesthetic design. And so your ideas get smaller because they're purified through your craft.
I like that.
Right.
Okay.
So that was the first big hurdle. Anything creative, anything within the arts is usually very personal, and we become very protective of. And so dealing with criticism, dealing with addressing your own inadequacies and your own flaws is a really tough thing to learn. And that's universal. Everybody has that. And when you can harness that and accept your strengths as well as your weaknesses, some people are so self-negative that they can point out all their criticisms and they can't accept their strengths. And some people the reverse. Yes. And for me, I mean, I don't seem it, but I get to be a pretty sensitive guy when it comes to things that I care deeply about. And so getting over that was really difficult. Okay. The third and last hurdle was something I didn't discover until I got to the grad school level. So I got my bachelor's degree in composition. Actually, I think it was sort of like we do at JP Catholic. It was a music emphasis in arts, right? Okay. And I spent about 5 or 6 years working and teaching privately and playing a lot, playing piano bars and things like that, just gigging. Yeah. And that helped all of my ideas to really solidify. And to the point where I realized, oh yeah, I did learn a whole lot. At first, I didn't feel like I learned anything, right? Yeah. It takes a while for ideas to develop. And so after about 5 or 6 years, I felt like, okay, I'm really confidently aware of what I'm doing. And grad school was the best experience for me because it got me through that final hurdle, which is I had to learn what I wanted to say. I had to learn what I consider, aesthetically correct and aesthetically incorrect. Like the things I enjoy, the things I don't. I didn't know my own tastes. Gotcha. And it seems really strange because you'd think, oh, well, I've known what my tastes are since I was a baby. But you don't. You don't really know what your own tastes are until you give it that kind of critical analysis. Yeah. So I like to say that getting my undergrad degree taught me about my subject, but getting my graduate degrees taught me about myself. It taught me who I was and what I wanted to say. Okay. And that was the final hurdle because I was writing music that was uninspired. Yeah. And I'll be the first to admit it. It's like maybe it was of average quality, maybe it was even better than average quality, but it was empty in the sense that I hadn't concluded the things that I like to say. But once I did that, it became so easy. Yeah. It became so easy.
What does being an artist mean to you?
I think being an artist is a combination of craft and message, sort of the theme of what we're talking about. So if you're good at what you do and you have the knowledge of how to do it, but you also do it in a way that says something. Yeah. And I think that you can have a high level of craftsmanship in a lot of fields, in working with wood, or working with fabrics, or working with music, or working with words. And being an artist is taking a personal message, or a public message, just taking a universal truth and kind of projecting it through the prism of the craft that you've been taught.
I love that.
So I don't think it's an elevated position.
Okay.
I think all of us are artists in one way or another, and
Yeah.
all of us can be artists in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't like the idea that people, and I think it's one of the blessings of the school that we're at, is that there's that JP Catholic doesn't give you an opportunity to pigeonhole yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You may come in thinking you're an actor, but you're going to be a director at one point or another. You're going to be a musician at one point or another. You'll be holding a microphone, and you're going to be clapping the clapper, right? And because of that, I think it teaches our student body that there's lots of different ways that any one of us can express ourselves.
I love that.
And you might have a gravitate towards a certain field or a certain methodology, but that doesn't mean you can't express yourself really well through some other thing if you learn a little bit of craft on it.
Yeah. So it's like not putting yourself in a box, but expanding yourself.
It may sound like sacrilegious that I'm saying it, but artists are not special people.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no breed of creative that is exclusive. Everybody's creative and can be creative in whatever field they want.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Professor. Like, it was an honor to have you on Legions of Artists.
You know what? The honor was all mine. Yeah. The honor was all mine. Okay.
No, thank you again. And I think that's it.
Okay, great.
So
thank you. All right.
Period.
Bye.
Cut.